On this episode of Formula World, we'll be doing something a little bit different in that we'll be focusing on just one topic of Robert Kubica and his recent test in Abu Dhabi and the possibility of his comeback. Kubica's test results. This past weekend saw Robert Kubica test a current Williams car in the post-season testing in Abu Dhabi. Before we go into the test results, I would like to preface this with the fact that the times set during tests are not necessarily indicative of absolute or relative pace. Here you can see a condensed version of the results from the post-season tests in Abu Dhabi. For reference to Kubica, I've included the overall fastest and slowest time set, both other Williams drivers, and the fastest and slowest time set on the same compound tyres. As you can see here, Sebastian Vettel set the fastest time over the 2 days worth of testing on the hyper-soft compounds which we'll see in 2018. Robert Kubica managed to set the fastest overall times for a Williams driver, with Lance Stroll setting a time that was a tenth off the pace of the Polish driver. Renault reserve driver Sergei Sirotkin also tested for Williams and managed to set a time half a second off the pace of Robert Kubica, albeit on the soft compound tyres. As you can also see, I've included Marcus Ericsson, who was the slowest driver on the hypersoft tyres, as a reference to the other drivers, and Pierre Gasly for Toro Rosso, who was the slowest driver to set a time on the soft compound tyres. Like I mentioned earlier, these times are not indicative of absolute or relative pace, and therefore can't extrapolate much from this data alone. Post-test responses. After testing with Williams, Kubica has been getting plenty of good vibes from the team and is pleased with his performance in a new car on an unfamiliar circuit. It has been productive with many laps, and although it's my first time with Williams, I get a very good feeling in the garage. The guys and the atmosphere are great, which is nice to see. Of course, I'm starting nearly from scratch because Formula 1 has changed so much in the last 7 years that it's like nearly starting from zero. But my experience, which I gained in the years I was racing in Formula 1, helped me to get on top of the learning process quicker than it used to be in the past. Williams team boss Paddy Lowe echoed Kubica's sentiment in that the team has been getting on well with the Polish driver and is clearly very happy with his driving during the test. Robert did a great job. We were very happy. Absolutely, with the number of laps and with the good running altogether. His feedback is very good. He is a driver of tremendous experience and very knowledgeable around his work. His job is a professional racing driver, so he has that confidence and you can feel it in the garage, so everybody's happy with Robert. As I suggested earlier, lap times from test sessions aren't always a good indicator of absolute pace or even relative pace due to how the sessions are structured. And when Paddy Lowe was asked about his thoughts on Kubica's pace, he has refused to comment on his speed for these reasons. I'm not going to talk about speed. It's a complicated topic. I'm sure you want me to give some answers about that, but it's not something we are going to discuss. To just read a timesheet is quite misleading, so I'm not going to talk about that. We haven't even analysed it for ourselves. Are there any limitations? There has been ongoing talks about potential driving limitations that Kubica might face given the extent of his injuries, with some even suggesting that he may have to drive with only one arm, and therefore extrapolated the great difficulties that would bring. However, Kubica himself has rubbished those claims and made it clear that he isn't driving one-handed and is in fact in the best physical shape of his entire life. There is someone saying I'm driving one-handed. I'm not driving one-handed. I think it's impossible to drive a Formula 1 car with one hand. But I have some limitations, so in some way my body used some compensations, which is not wrong. We are human beings and our brains are used to help our bodies overcome disabilities. This is normal daily life. This is something I think I'm on top of. Probably I'm physically in my best shape, by far a better shape than I was when I was racing in 2010. So motivation is there and the body is reacting in a good way. And Paddy Lowe has also made it clear that there was absolutely no problems with his driving or ability, but did add that there were some minor changes made to his steering wheel, which is commonplace among all drivers. No problems, he's absolutely fine. Good driving, no complaints, no issues, all went well. There are a few changes we'll make for switchgear and so on. In actual fact, most drivers tune that to their preference anyway. In most teams, you'll find the steering wheel is different between the two drivers. Will he be driving in 2018? Former Williams driver Felipe Massa, whose retirement has opened up the place for a new driver, has come out saying that his replacement has already been decided and that he knows who it is. I already know who it is, so I don't need to put money on it, but I will not tell you. I hope it is the best option for the team. But I'm leaving, so it doesn't matter to me. I am happy and I wish the team all the best. If what Massa says is true, then it becomes clear that Williams' cryptic responses about their reasons for testing Kubica is all for show and are just drawing out an announcement. We all saw how he operated in Formula 1 in the past. He's a great driver, very professional, very committed, enthusiastic, very intelligent. He's an exciting prospect, that's why we're looking at him. We're in a process with Robert, which is a matter of evaluating whether his injuries will have an impact on his ability to drive in Formula 1. It's as simple as that. We'll take the decision at the time we are ready, when we have all the information and we are ready to declare it. The drivers we brought to this test doesn't mean that it's the drivers under consideration for racing next year. Of course it gives us more information about drivers, but it's not setting a definition from the pool from which we will pick race drivers. Comeback not just a nice story. The man himself, who is very much touted to be racing for Williams next year, knows that his comeback would make for an amazing story, but is quick to make it clear that his comeback isn't purely a sentimental one, and that he would only be doing it if he truly believed he was capable of giving his best performances. I think there are a lot of people who want to see me back because of the story. The story is nice, but in the end, there are no discounts for the story. In the end, I have to make sure if I get the chance I am ready, and I have to be as best prepared as I can if something comes up. First of all, I have to be sure that I am able to do it. And for sure, every day is giving me a lot of confidence that things can work out pretty well. If I'm coming back, I'm not just here to make up the numbers. Although I've been away for 7 years, with my limitations, I have to be sure that I am able to provide my best possibilities and be the best Robert Kubica which I know. Formula World fans react. In the last episode of Formula World, I asked you who you thought was the best rookie of the 2017 season. The results are in, and it's clear that the winner is Force India driver Esteban Ocon. Despite many of you voicing your concerns over his eligibility of being a true rookie, enough of you obviously thought that he was worthy of the top spot. A very distant second place saw a possibly understated Stoffel Vandoorne, whose season was overshadowed by many technical faults of his car during the year. And in last place was Lance Stroll, the man who also happened to earn the title of the youngest driver to ever finish on a Formula 1 podium, and may possibly be the teammate of Robert Kubica next year. As this channel is fastly approaching 10,000 subscribers, I have many things planned for the future. But I would like to find out what you would like to see on this channel. Let me know what you think in the comments, and stay tuned because over the next few videos I'll be making some big announcements for the future of the channel. And as always, if you like this video, feel free to subscribe and check out my other videos for all the latest in the world of Formula 1.